My name is Sheila Clark and I'm a citizenship teacher in King Edward VI School in Morpeth.
Today's quite a special day for the school in its connection with a very famous son of Morpeth, William Turner. Can you tell us a little bit about Turner's connection with the school and what's happened today?
Well, Turner, we think, began his education in the chantry in Morpeth. And that was in around the early 1500s, around about 1510. He would probably be going to the school there. Now, our school began in the chantry as well, and we were refounded as the King Edward VI School in 1552. So we think that it's quite possible William Turner is one of our old pupils. So we class him as one of our alumni. And so he's one of our most famous ones because he wrote this amazing Herball in the 1500s. A lot of hard work put into it. It's such a detailed book and it has so many illustrations, and it was so important because it was one of the first Herbals to be written in English, and he made it that way so that it helped the physicians in our country to understand the plants and how to use them. So we thought it would be a good idea to develop our own William Turner garden. So we looked at the one in Carlisle Park and we thought, well, how best can we interpret that and put it into our school? And we asked for Dr Marie Addyman, plant historian, and also the Friends of Morpeth William Turner group to come and give us a hand, and they've been fabulous in helping us develop this, especially for the students, and we hope for the public to see as well, like today.
So how long have you been working on the garden?
We began with support from Professor Alan Davison when we were developing the first of our science gardens, so that would be 2016, and we're now into 2018, so 2 years from start to finish.
And a lot of the plants, or maybe most of the plants that you've got here, are plants that Turner would have been very familiar with, isn't that right?
Most definitely, they're all authentic to the 16th century. So we have hyssop, and we have lavender, we have wormwood. There are so many different ones that are attributed to William Turner's time. And we've got a little booklet now that explains most of the plants. We've got a little woodland section where we've got Paris quadrifolia. We've got the medicine section as well, and then we've got other parts to look at too, and a little footpath in between.
And then subsequently, as much more recently, the school had another connection with Turner through one of its former head teachers, isn't that correct?
We do, yes. George Chapman was our headmaster between 1970 and 1980, and he was fascinated by Turner, and he knew how difficult it was to read and understand that original book. It was very heavy and detailed text, and sometimes it was quite muddled. And George wanted to make more sense of it, and so he started to delve into it and began to pull together a modern version of it. So it's a facsimile version, and everybody uses it these days to look at and interpret properly and understand it well.
And what do the present day pupils get from studying the work of Turner and putting it into practice here in the garden?
Well, they're very excited about it actually, because at the minute they're doing the history of medicine, and this is a perfect example of 16th century, what happened with medicine then, because it was all based on herbs and plants. And so that's one of the most important features. And the other things that you can take from it are what else can we do with it to do with other subjects. So we've got art involved now. The illustrations are incredibly important in William Turner's book, because without the illustrations it's far more difficult to identify a plant. So what the students in year 10 have done is they've worked with their art teacher to look at how to develop the illustrations and make sure that they're very detailed and correct in interpretation.
My name is Michael Chapman. My father, George Chapman, was headmaster at this school from 1970 to 1980.
Now I believe that your father had a lifelong obsession, some people might say, with the work of William Turner, is that correct?
Absolutely. You could call it an obsession. He was fascinated by the character of Turner, who managed to pull himself out of Morpeth and get to Pembroke College and become author of the first English Herbal.
So how long did your father spend doing the facsimile version, and why did he think it was important?
The facsimile version was important because it made the herbal available to the modern generation, and he wanted people to know about Turner. Turner had been forgotten in history, and he brought Turner back to life, and this is why he would have been so impressed by this garden today. Far more people now know about Turner and are following his work, and the facsimile, the modern edition of the Turner's Herbal, has made all that possible.
Of course, the significance of both working and living in what was Turner's old hunting ground wouldn't be lost on your father, I imagine.
Absolutely not. He was very impressed to be headmaster of a school that Turner had attended, and it just shows the long traditions of the school. And in fact, people are still going from this school to Pembroke College in Cambridge today, following Turner's footsteps.
So what does it mean to you as his son to come back here today and see this work being done?
Oh, it's a real privilege to come back and understand that people still respect my father's work and still look up to him.